Rather, the people who are supposed to go, the proper people who are supposed to go, they are left back in the villages, in the creeks. So you cannot really rule it out.
This is an interesting perspective you're bringing in this
Yes.
moment. But then, listening to your submission, are you then suggesting that since they are fighting for their pay packet, we should ignore them?
No, we cannot ignore them. But we cannot also subject ourselves to blackmail. That's why I said we must separate criminality from agitation. Because if you don't, if you now say some people are busting pipes and doing that, and you call them, okay, you now take this, then leave the issues that are supposed to be agitated for, which is on that development, cleaning of the region and all that.
Are they not agitating for this?
They are, of course not. Go to their demands. You are saying that they should clean the region, and then you bust the pipeline, and then everywhere that is polluted. It's going to take 30 years to clean Ogoni. That one is land. Then you are busting pipeline, and every day you spill oil everywhere in the region. So how can you be something that they should clean the region, and then every day you go in there to destroy pipeline? It doesn't make sense to us.
But you know,
it doesn't make sense.
But you know that there's also been several oil spills by the IOCs.
Of course.
Was it cleaned up? The ones that weren't busted by, at least, militants.
The IOCs have not lived up to their responsibility. And there are several cases to it where they are forced to. Now, if the IOC is not cleaning up, let's say the pollution they cause is like 40%. We're already suffering it. We can't go out for fishing.
What did groups like yours do in those kind of cases?
Of course, we are in court. We wrote several letters. In my own place, for instance, where they are polluting everywhere, this gas flame, we wrote several letters to them. They refused. We are in Federal High Court to force them to go and do their job. So we are particular that...
When did you go to the court?
Of course, we've been in court since last year. Federal High Court was
last year. I'm talking about oil spill that has been happening for a long time.
Of course, there are several cases where people go to court, they write and all that. Of course, the Ogoni, they didn't just sit down.
No, I mean your group.
Of course, our group are in court. We did agitation, but why our own is not without violence? We write letter, we do peaceful demonstration. If we fail, we'll go to court, because someday the will of justice is slow, but someday we'll get our day, and the justice will be done.
There are a lot of people who are taking the agitations from the Niger Delta with a pinch of salt, because they believe that the leaders of this region are just looking for how to enrich themselves. And even though you say you're in court, what's the guarantee that you will not be settled and then you just go back and forget your court case?
You see, we cannot generalize. There are bad eggs in the region, and we lost our moral high ground.
You generalize.
When we had our 6 years, we couldn't really...
Did you say you cannot generalize?
Of course, I said there are some leaders who are bad in our region.
But you've been generalizing when you say they're all fighting for their pay packets. That's generalization.
That most of them are fighting. I didn't say all. Most of them are fighting. That's why I said separate those who are genuine agitators and those criminals. If anybody has a criminal matter to answer, he should go to court. He should go and answer to the criminal matter. But if you have a genuine agitation, let us sit down and reason that what do we do to move our region forward?
So back to the question.
We can sit down without busting pipelines.
Which one is genuine agitation? The difference between genuine agitation and seeking to settle yourselves. That thing that a lot of people are arguing, even online, those who are watching you are wondering. I mean, most of the Niger leaders just want to settle themselves.
No, it's not. It cannot be all. It cannot be all. It cannot certainly not be all. My brother just left here now. I have known him for years. We have had several meetings. We have discussed way of moving this region forward. What he thinks may not necessarily be what the man back home thinks. Now, if you come to us at Maritime University to kick off before the Avengers drop their guns, I am sure those people who are doing this work, they are not even qualified to enter the university. Of course, I will not sit here and say you should go do away with the Maritime University, because that is what has come to us.
You know all of those who are doing this work who are not qualified?
I say most of them. Because
that means you know them.
I don't know them, but a reasonable man. I went through primary school, secondary school, and university, and I've been struggling to make a living. I will not go. I will live here and go and bust pipeline. Of course, I'm not reasonable.
You've not seen graduates
some of these boys
are armed robbers because they've been trying to make a living and they couldn't do that.
That is the exception. But the people who actually ordinarily supposed to be on those payroll of Amnesty are those people who were deprived of feel deprived. They didn't have any means of livelihood. They are not employable. That is why, in the first place, we are training them.
Yeah, but look,
we are sending them for training so that they can be helpful to themselves.
Aren't we, with due respect to your opinion, aren't we in danger of trivializing all of this when you say, look, most of those who are doing this are not qualified to go to any of these universities? It takes expertise to bust some of these pipelines, the main ones for that matter. So if you trivialize it, are you sure you're going to give the authorities a good picture, a clear picture of what exactly is happening so they can approach it?
Chabal, if you remember very well, I told you that people are sponsoring this. When people come here and say they bust pipeline and they do this, you have to have a basic understanding of how these pipelines and all these busting operates. It is not that they drive to that place and bust it. No. What they do is that we had a meeting with the minister and we said, do a thorough check of all the pipeline. Do a survey. Because these things are already wired. They are already wired. So all you need to do is just a small device and then you set it off. So it's not like when the agitation, this is not the kind of agitation we have.
You mean the pipelines that we have in this country have been rigged already?
They are rigged. That is why it is easy for them to sit back home and then set them on fire. Because before now, the agitation was quite different. What they do before now, they will bring guns and boats and then face the army, face the police, face the navy, and then there's a shootout.
How do you know they were rigged?
How do I know? Of course, from what is going on now, look at what happened the other day. The latest one in the Chevron rig. Of course, the armies were there. They were watching when it went off. Nobody went through.
And you say people who can't
enter. Device.
And you say these guys don't know what they're doing?
That is why I say they are leaders. They are leaders who have this expertise. They are leaders who have been trained. But the common man who is there, who is saying I'm not the Avengers, is not the person who is paying them. There's a big gun that needs to be revealed. The security will do that work.
How do we solve this? Because, I mean, we're talking about solutions to all of this. How do we solve this?
The solution, like I tell you, is that let the security do their work. Let's separate those who have criminal matters to answer. Let them go and answer their matter. And then those people who are innocent, we must learn to employ the carrot and stick. First, they must review the amnesty to make sure that those people who are in there, they get their stipend. The genuine people, the genuine
people are not getting their
people stipend. Are not getting that. They need to reject the amnesty program. And then you come back to the things that are peculiar to the region. One other thing is that this issue of casualization that is going on in the industry. When you bring in people from Lagos here, you take them to Chevron field in Escravos. You can't employ there, and then you put them. So you must make the people who are there have a sense of belonging. Let them feel that these pipelines belong to me. And if this pipeline is bust, I won't feed anymore. But when you bring in people from outside to come and take over the oil industry,
I thought that's part of what Udens spoke about as well.
Of course, it was correct. If they don't have that sense of belonging, in a community where you have 5 flow stations, you cannot boast of 2 graduates who are working there. Of course, they don't feel concerned, because if everybody, like in our area now, the upland, where we have that kind of platform, every pipeline then is being guided by the community people. So if there's any leakage somewhere, they will come and hold you responsible. And then they give them some stipend. So that is how to go about it. That hold somewhere when you said this one, so you bring somebody from north. For instance, let me give you some without mentioning names. When they were talking about this pipeline work, the line from Escravos down to the refinery, down to Kaduna, was given to MROS. Of course, people protested. I met representatives of the minister that you cannot take somebody from, though we are all Nigeria, bring somebody from north to come and guide the pipeline in my community. He doesn't know anybody there. So you must involve community policing of these pipelines. You must involve the leadership of the community. You must involve the youth who are involved there, who are from that place. And then let them have a sense of belonging, that this pipeline belongs to them. That their means of livelihood also revolve around the protecting these pipelines.
What are the solutions?
I just said, one, the first thing, let us review the amnesty. Those who are no longer interested in the amnesty, of course, if you sign some paper for you to be granted amnesty, if you are no longer interested, let us all know those who are interested. And those who are interested, of course, let us pay them. Let us review their stipend.
With that review, are you also putting into consideration a deadline to the end of the program?
Of course, there ought to be deadline, but then the government has missed their own part of the bargain, because if you say you are going to train somebody for 5 years, and then you say, okay, by 2015 or 2020 you are going to stop the program, and the person didn't go for training for 3 years, of course you have lost that date. So for you to have a deadline, you must review and see those who are.
What about the ex-militant leaders? Can there be a meeting amongst them and government to see if they can actually broker peace between the Avengers and the federal government?
Of course, there was a meeting last week in Benin, and thereafter a prominent ex-militant leader, Boylov, came out with a statement. Of course, you must have read the statement where he said he put the blame squarely on somebody. And then others are talking, Ataketem was saying that he's not part of it. Those are people who also participated in the amnesty programs. They are saying they are no longer part. The ones in Akwa Ibom and all that, they are saying they are no longer part of it. So, but there is a particular one that is not saying anything, but he's saying that he does not know them.
Honorable Jaro Egbo is a national leader, Yoruba Nationality Council. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you so much.
Well, we'll be back, and we've got one more lap still focusing on what do we do to solve this. Join us again.